The Army isn't really a job. It's more than that. It's something that people who've never been a part of it don't really understand. People say things like, he's married to the Army, or the Army's his family. And they're right. You're a part of it. You're in it, and you'll never really leave. I liked that. I liked that it was just as much a part of me as my own right arm, and something I would equally not like to be separated from, at least at the time. But sometimes divorce is unavoidable. Sometimes something gets so broken that it can't be fixed. Sometimes you have to leave the one you love before you both end up destroying each other. They trained us well, I'll give them that. We spent months doing exercises and pretending in the cold, but no one is generally trying to shoot you. Not really. And you can pretend all you like that it's the same and that they can be as harsh as they like, but you know in the end they're not going to shoot you. That just won't happen. Which is why when you get suited up, land in Iraq, and go out on patrol for the first time, you're scared. Not because you don't know what you're doing, not because you don't trust the people you're with. You're scared because suddenly it's real. Suddenly the kid gloves are off, the rounds are live, and the people that want you dead are on the loose. And anyone who doesn't find that scary is an idiot. According to the United States Department of Veteran Affairs, over 20% of all veterans who served in Operations Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom were later diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. These brave men and women who dedicated their lives to a cause that they believed in were then faced with a crossroads. How could you love something so dearly to only have it hurt you in return? Through this story, we see the struggles of a brave veteran who has witnessed the worst things imaginable. The least that the rest of us can do is listen. Listen by Matt Fox. But eventually you get over it. Finally, the fear slithers back into its cave and you decide to do your job, save a couple lives, and maybe even help yourself. No one wants to be the first to admit that they're not okay, of course. I'm not just talking the Army here, but generally when you get a group of soldiers together, no one wants to say they're not all right. You just store it up. Store it up in a bucket of fear in our guts. At first, it starts out empty, clean as a whistle, but then drip, 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 it fills up. You hear an explosion too close for comfort. You meet a woman who's been terrorized, and you see a kid that's been shot, and suddenly that drip turns into a trickle, that trickle turns into a stream, and that stream turns into a river of fear flowing through you with no way of escaping. There is, of course, always the incident that finishes you off, that just tips the bucket over and you can't do it anymore. Mine started like most other days. Don't believe what everyone says that we're just invading infidels. Most people are just good, honest people trying to live their lives in the worst possible situation. They're just shopkeepers, taxi drivers, teachers, trying to live their lives in a country which has just become a hellstorm. They don't hate us. So we're out on patrol, making our presence known and keeping the peace. And while we're out, I'm talking to a man who I'd met last time who owned a shop selling cigarettes, chewing tobacco, and other such products. We're chatting, and he asked if I had any family. I said I did, and he told me he had 5 daughters. I said, that's a handful. And while we're talking, we're just having a great time. He was a really nice guy. He watched a lot of US TV, so his English was probably better than my own. And while we're chatting, I noticed a figure just over my buddy's shoulder, walking straight towards us, straight to the center of the marketplace. At first, I thought it was just someone who really wanted to go shopping. But I couldn't take my eyes off of him. I just watched him. None of the other guys were looking his direction. They were all either passing the ball with some kids or looking the wrong way. I just watched him praying he'd stop. He didn't. By the time he was within 20 feet, he started running straight towards those kids. As soldiers, we're trained to look for the absence of the normal and the presence of the abnormal. Usually, when there's a planned attack, someone will have been tipped off and the whole village will be empty. Or there will be a huge dance and chant, and then you know you're screwed. But today was neither of those. Today, everything was perfect except for this one person walking a little faster than usual. I didn't do anything. I figured, why ruin this perfect day that these people were having by going and getting all agitated over one person for something as simple as walking too fast? I just kept my eyes on him. He made a beeline straight towards those kids, and then boom! The tobacco man I'd been talking to that day saved my life. His head lurched into my face and knocked us to the ground, and I just laid there for a second trying to comprehend what had just happened. I was currently on the ground, probably in the process of bleeding out, unsure if I even had all of my arms and legs, but I didn't care. I just laid there, enjoying the peace and quiet before the pain set in and the sound came back. The movies, they all do explosions wrong. Not the boom and the flash bit. That's pretty accurate. What they get wrong is the way it affects people's bodies. Anyone in the middle you don't really see because, frankly, they've instantly disintegrated. Anyone facing the explosion within 30 feet would have their lungs literally pop inside their chest from the force of the impact. Of course, if you're facing away, you will fare better, but with all the bikes, vehicles, and street vendors in the area, everyone is torn to bits by shrapnel. Since then, it's been years, and there have been 3 or 4 deployments. I know that there's a whole group of people who have witnessed things just as bad, if not worse, than me. But it's just too much. None of my men made it out that day, and neither did any of those poor damn kids. So, the civil doctors, they've taken it all away from me and said that they won't help until I've fixed myself. They try to help, they really do. I took the leave, I took the counseling, I took it all, but the problem was me. I'm not the man who wants to talk about his problems. I'm not the man who wants other people's sympathy. I'm the man who figures it out all on his own, or just drinks it all away. So, this is my life. Everything's left me. My family's gone. My kids are gone. My job's gone. My house is gone. But I don't blame anyone other than myself. This was all my decision. I know I could undo it. I know I could stop drinking, and I know I could get it all back. I just know I could. But at the end of the day, I know what I'll see if I ever fall asleep sober. The poor, dead eyes of those kids who died in front of me, the lifeless whites of the man who saved my own very life, and my friends and family disintegrating in front of me. So I know any day I would rather fall asleep with a bottle of vodka in my hand than ever relive that again. Thank you.